Hey, what's good, y'all? It's the White Shadow Norway. I had a little request of doing a beat making video, so I'll do that right now. This beat is finished, though I made it last night, and I call it Dream Girl because this beat is my dream girl, straight up. I was crate digging for a few hours. I usually do that for a few. Just go through a lot of music, look for samples and sounds to use for a beat until I have a good stack of good stuff, and then I pick the best from that again. You know, I used to make beats with everything that was dope, but I don't anymore. I just pick the dopest and go with that, whether it's sounds or melody lines looped or whatever it is. So this turned out to be a kind of film noirish, laid back, jazzy, moody type of beat right here. So I have all the elements up here. I use FL Studio. This is an old version. It's actually FL9. I think they're at like FL16 or 17 right now. But I don't really care. You know, I don't really like to update too much when I'm happy with the software I'm using. Before I used FL, I've used that for like 15 years now. Then I used the SP1200, but it was just, you know, it was under my bed for years really, so I ended up selling it, and I haven't regretted because you can do whatever you need to do with software nowadays. That's just the way it is. Of course, respect to the classic SP1200 anyway, but I've used FL Studio for a long time. Actually, what software you use, it doesn't matter, or if you use hardware or whatever. If you got a machine, use that, or use the vintage sampler, or you use software to make beats. It don't really matter because most of them do the same things, like whether it's FL or Reason or Logic or whatever you use. You know, as long as you're happy with it, and if you need something, you can always go grab some plugins. But I suggest to go easy on the plugins as well, because you can really lose yourself using plugins and stuff like that. And after all, this is hip hop, so it's pretty basic, as it's supposed to be. As you know, a hip hop beat is just like one third of a hip hop song, because you're gonna have MCs rhyming on top of a beat. You're gonna have some hooks, whether it's singing hooks or scratched hooks or rhymed hooks, and maybe some sound effects or movie sample dialogues in intros and outros and bridges and stuff like that too. So keep in mind that, yeah, or at least, I'm a big fan of less is more and keep it simple. I really am. But what I do work on the inside of it. I make sure I use only dope sounds and samples for a beat, like every little sound I use. And then I go in and I fatten everything up by using equalizers, levels, rise effects, but you got to go easy on them. Just, make it sound as tight as possible. Yeah, when we're talking about sampling, I mean, hip hop was really criticized a lot back in the days for stealing other people's music. Now, there's a saying that goes, good artists borrow, great artists steal. So there you have it. Music is always inspired by other music before it. And actually, hip hop wasn't the first to sample something. That's said to be the Beatles, though, of course, they didn't use a sampler back in like the mid 60s when they did it, because I mean there wasn't such a thing as a sampler yet, so they used reel-to-reel tape to tape record and to cut and paste a piece of a classical music piece into one of their songs. So yeah, the Beatles anyway said to be the first to sample, and then, of course, when the samplers came along, then hip hop artists grabbed it real quick, and from there it just got really big. So you had pop artists like, say, David Bowie or Mick Jagger sampling and looping break beats and stuff too. So, we don't really need to excuse ourselves for using samples anymore. People were also inspired by hip hop records, like back in the day, Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. The bass line from that was taken from Curtis Blow's Christmas Rapping, who did like a rework in a way of Good Times by Chick, the Rapper's Delight used. So hip hop beats is really, it's a mix of the best elements of other people's music and all genres of music and sound in general. And as for me too, I'm not a traditional musician. I am a DJ making records with other people's records. It boils down to that. I can play a little bit on the keyboards and everything. But let's get into the beats here. Yeah, man. 2024, my Dream Girl beat, really dope, jazzy beat, this one. Oh, let me go through the sounds first. The first thing I did was the drums. I usually start with that. So I chopped up some drums and put them back together in a loop, and I fattened it up and made it sound like, you know, a really fat breakbeat that sounds like this. Then I got a bass line going here. I played that myself like this. I don't know if you can hear it because you need some really big speakers to hear this kind of deep sub bass thing going on. Sometimes I play it, sometimes I grab a loop if there's a fat bass line behind it, and I just filter out all the highs and use that as a bass line. But then you got to tune the keys and everything too, and pitch it right so it's right by tempo and key to the rest of what you got going on the beat as well. I also like to sample some wax crack, I call it here. That's, you know, static potato chips from an old vinyl record. I hope you can hear this. If not, you can see it in the meters down here. I do that because the beats tend to sound a little warmer, a little more feeling, less generic and stuff like that. It's a common thing in hip hop to actually sample and loop vinyl static, a bit of that wax crack, as it said there. Then I got a crash cymbal right here. I like to use that at the beginning of every 4 bars or every 2 bars of a beat to make it a little punchier right there at the start of them. So yeah, there it is. Basic crash cymbal. I also use like just a keyboard. I don't have a MIDI keyboard at all. You know, I'm good with just a keyboard because I'm a programmer more than anything. You need to go into every little thing you do in a beat and fine tune anyway. So I'd rather just program and do the fine tuning right away as well. Then down there, after that crash, we have the loop parts that I used, like this one right here for the main part of the beat. Actually, that was a lot slower, the record I sampled it from. It sounded like something like this originally. Let me see here if I can get it on the right sound. There it goes. So that's how it was really, and then I just speed it up so it sounded like this. So the tempo of this is 86 BPM, like your basic boom bap hip hop kind of tempo. Then I got the mixer here, and I assigned each of these sounds and samples to individual tracks down here. You got the drum breaks, you got the crash cymbal right there, you got the loops, and you got the vinyl noise wax crack and the bass. So it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sounds really. Keeping it simple and making sure that those elements I use is always tight. So I use equalizers and levels and panning sometimes, and some effects too, delays, reverbs, chorus, flangers, stuff like that to fatten everything up, compressors, limiters. And but you got to go easy on them. I mean, the mission here is to make every part of a beat really fit well with each other, and it's very important that you from the get-go use dope sounds that you put in. I learned this from house music producer Kerry Chandler, just from listening to an interview with him a long time ago, where he said that you gotta make sure that you put dope in, because if you put bullshit in, you get bullshit out. Now, I don't fully agree with that. I mean, you can probably sample some whack loops and sounds and tweak them and chop them and cut and paste them or whatever, man, add effects and, you know, get a pretty dope beat out of it. But still, if your source material is really great, and you use that and you fatten that up, then of course that's going to be even better. So bullshit turned dope is not as good as really dope turned dope. That makes a lot of sense. So props to Kerry Chandler for that. Actually, he was my man Chino XL, Rest in Power's DJ in the first crew Chino XL was in. Kerry Chandler was Chino XL's DJ, though he advanced to becoming a house music producer and legend later. Kerry Chandler, that is. Anyway, let's go back to the beat. If I put all these sounds together, it sounds like this for the main loop here. First you got just the loop, then I'll add everything so you can hear what it sounds like with the drums and the bass and all that shit on top of it, like this. I work in patterns, so this is like pattern 1, then I got pattern 2, I got more samples down here and to make variations, so it's nice, you know, and some breakdowns and stuff like that. So this is another part. Then I got a couple of variations of those parts, and then I got a little hook part right here. So when I'm done with all of that, making, you know, all the parts of a beat, then I'll go from pattern write to song writes and view the playlist down here. And here you can see how I put the beat together. You got another sequencer part down here if I pull it up, but I usually don't use that one. On that one, you can put more things on top of each other. You can mute stuff more and stuff like that. But I like to make the arrangement of the beat up in my mind and then just put them in the right order. I think that's a better way to do it. But, you know, we all got our ways to do it. And what I want you to do from this is don't do it like I do it. Do it, you know, in your own way. Don't do what I do. Do something different. But if you can learn something from this, it's all good too. So what I've done here, I've put an intro here with just one of the jazz loops that goes like this. And then I add the drums and some of the bass and then the full groove after that. So you can check that out for a second. Turn it up a little. There you go. Nice jazzy moody beat from the White Shadow Norway in a place like that. Then, you know, I make some breakdowns before the hook parts come in. I might take out some of the bass and drums so it sounds like this. With a different loop there for the breakdown before the hook comes in right in. Then I'll also make a breakdown part on the hook part going back into the main part of the beat like this. Just dropping out some muting, some bass and drums at the end of it. Right here. So what I made here is like your basic hip-hop song. MCs like to do like 3 verses. I usually keep that on the basic beats. Then, you know, I can extend it or shorten it later if needed. So it's the intro part right here in the beginning there, and then for, you know, I'll leave space for the first verse, then for the first hook, then for the second verse, and then I put in some changes there during that, you know, just to vary it up. Then back to the hook again, and a third verse and the hook again. And on this one, I like the main loop so much that I wanted to make that like an outro, like the part of the beat that you remember the most when it stops, you know. So I put the main loop a little bit at the end of the beat and a little end thing here. I'll play for you. Yep, and there you have it, the full beat. My dream girl for 2024. I usually make beats based on my experiences and things that's happened in like the last few days before I make a beat. So, you know, usually inspired by that stuff, and I try to, you know, get that sound that I want out of that. I'm usually going for a certain sound, but sometimes when I dig for samples, I just find something dope and be like, yeah, hell yeah, that's what I want to use. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little beat making video with White Shadow Norway, and I'll play you the full beat. So enjoy that, and I'll catch you soon, okay? Peace.